the date and the page.
Yeah. So we have to begin saying that today is Kof Elul, Hemshut of Ayin Beis, Kerech Aleph, Omud Tov Yutes. Right, so we were holding, as far as I remember, right at the end of right at the end of Os Reish Vav, Korah to the Kitzah, and we had discussed that there were two Ifanim of Makif in the Ashbur, Mitzad the Mashpia to the Makab, two Dargas, two Ifanim of Makif. In other words, that when a Mashpia is Mashpia, a Seichel to the Makabel, an output, Makabel is Makabel Fi, Kwekleisel Fi, Kishrenaisel, Kelo. So he gets what is shaykh to his, what he's taking, to take. But there's always a Ayin which is Makif Allah. And that's Mitzad the Seichel of the Mashpia, that there's always a certain Mechina which is Makif Allah. And we saw that that's called the Makif of Oyer Yosho. And the Makif of Oyer Yosho is always a Madrega, what despite the Helem, Mitzad the Yechilas of the Makabel to be Makabel, nonetheless, there is a Shaykhas Be'etzem to Isgalas, Mitzad that Makif. Meaning that ultimately, if the Makabel will be Misyageya Koichas Shalai, and he will be Oiler, the Daran Sa'asoga, then he'll be able to be Makabel Oyer Naisaf, until he'll be able to be Makabel the whole Inim, which was Makif at the beginning. Which means that that's ultimately a Makif Shayach Elagiloi, even though there can be certain elements of it which may take a long time. And that's what we saw, that the Gemara says in Sekta Aveda Sarah, that Ayin Odom Oindom Das Rabbi, or Ayin Inish Koy, my Daita the Rabbi Adaboin Shnin, until 40 years. And that was Ashkocha Pratis, though, when we brought down in Fabringen on Shabbos. That was the Dover Hamuvur Rashi, Sofa Parsha, going to get to one of the Iki and Yonu all coming together on Shabbos, which was the Yevel Haraboyim, the whole Kim of the Yeshiva, and the whole Inim what Rashi brings over, and he quotes that Gemara, and he quotes that Inim that we're learning here in the Kete in Ayin Beis. So it's very amazing. Just that Rashi is medactic the Lashona HaTorah in Pirush Al-Chumash, he's medactic the Lashona, and he says, Rein Olam Oimed Al-Oimek Das Rabbi V'Chokmas Mishnosei. Rashi is Ma'atim the Lashon, Takim the Lashon, the Yinyon, as is well known, that he does that Bekamam Kemes, and that's one of the Kemes Boiltim, that he does that. I'll hook on you. Why does it take 40 years? What's the union of Boim Shana, Boim Shnin? Because of the darkness of that Helem, what you might call the Elul in that Helem, then it takes a Goysa Hafshara in the Union Akei. And the Shir in Zman, our sages were Mashaya, and they learned it up from the whole meaning what happened there. Midbar is a 40 year, Boim Shnin. And therefore Rashi is medactic to say that Adar Boim Shnin Ein Ara. He used the expression Makpi, it's not Doirish Kilo Ad Klikach Ko Kavanosei. Al Liachra Boim Shnin Kain, because by then it's to be assumed that it has gone into the clay hammer it's been Yoredum, or Nitwas in the Klei HaMekaber. So we see that despite the fact that it's a Makif, Muvdal HaMekaber, it may take him 40 years, be a Gier, and be Haksholas Kelo, Haksholas Kishon Reisa, or the so it's Nit and Loima that he will gain. And that's what we've seen a description, Barichas, in this whole Beis, of the Makif HaKorev, Sof El Agilu. Ach, what it's the Tchilas Ayin, it's a Ayin from Oimek, and even to the point that we quoted what Shlomo HaMelech says in Koheles, that Omek mi yimtza'enu. But the deal was that you can't really say about something Omek, and you can't say something about mi yimtza'enu, who will find it, if something hasn't been given with Chakila that causes the Chakila into that Inyan. In other words, you can't say who's going to find this if there's absolutely no sign or no trace of Gila whatsoever. A certain trace of Gila is Yodam. It's only the Miyim Tzoena that the Chacham who understands, the Rebbe, but Meshe Nitoi, he understands the Goytel HaOimek, and therefore he says also Miyim Tzoena, so there is that Me, and hopefully he himself becomes the Me. That's so Oimed. Al Sof Das Rabbi or Imek Daita, like Rashi Medatik at the end of last week's parasha. We see that he said that saying about something that it's omik doesn't show any kesher with it, and on the contrary, b'diuk hafuch. That indicates that so there can be an amida al piyut over there ad שזה יוקלט בכלי המקבל. That's what we've seen. And therefore, wherever there's an efes kotsehu, which has already been given, and it's kvar musad, then it's possible to come to Gilui Talumas Chochma, even though that's described ultimately as Talumas Chochma, if there's been a Gilui Beis Shuderet to the Makabel, then eventually he can take it. And that's what we were holding within a few lines of Chaponim on Omot Tofyu Tes, Hainam Mipnei She'efes Kotzei Musad Mikfar, that a certain amount of the Oimeka Inyan has been miscovered. Ve'ato Nigla Gam Tachlis Be'uko, Shezeu B'chilas Talumas Chochma. And we see a tumor of that when we get to the mile of the Shniyot. That's put down and says had it only been Luchas R'Sheinos, it would have been enough just to Luchas R'Sheinos would say for Yeshua, or we would have needed was a Sipu, Dvorim, how they were Koivish, Eretz Yisrael, Imoidei Zinyonim, would say for Yeshua, to round up the Shleimus Ayin. Chutz Miseh, we wouldn't have really needed anything more in the Inyan of Torah, because the whole Ephraim would have been a mile of the matter, the whole Inyan would have been maspik, those inyonim which are already between the skiloi, to be koivish, the shet ha'olam, the chayim ha'olam, how it was after the Inyan of Mount Torah. There was an aliyah with all those olam, it's not the Inyan of Mount Torah. Over through the Inyan of the Chetei Tzadah, so then there was a Yerida, and then the schar kilu for them, not in an Eifel from Chetei Nishka, in an even from Toireyach, you have to work hard. But through that working hard, then the Pasuk says, "Vayaget locho taluma is chokma," that he will tell you and he will reveal to you taluma is chokma. So, albeit it's a tremendous taluma, it's hidden, and it's hidden have been horrifying ever since the Luchas Shniyos. That Yom Kippur, Moshe Rabbeinu put down the Luchas Shniyos, hidden have been horrifying. They've been really horrifying in Torah Meshech HaRibui Doirei. After became the ultimate shleimus of that Chochma is Behesika Yad, from the Goyis of Chachmei Torah, and there it is to give it over Kol Echad L'fi Torah V'Inyonei to the Makabel. But we see that the profundity of the Inyan HaChochma is behesik yad, darke al day yigia, through the union from struggle, then it can come into Girush. Zero Chokma Nishteres, it's take a hidden Chokma, the Ayin Masha Nishtor, Mikol Adam, the Ato Nigla, but now it becomes Girush. The Akila Zer, Ushemeistim no Maila, Einachanam. That's not really the Koyach Anivroim, Mamish Miatzmo, the Love Ayin there. I was brought down when I get to certain minyan, it was also from the England, Poraduma, it was slave and full. Yeah, in other words, the Sinyonim attacking Richo, me, Koyachas, but nonetheless, Vipal says a clear, the Rebbe can compare it to even for clear or oil. Vipal, the Efes Kotzeyu, leads to a certain Achiza Alideh Adam, he's misatzim with that. That's a form of a seer's kli that also upon him nicely way the emissary shleimers of the Taluma Mumayla. Or if it weren't shaykh or Beis Juefen to a Makabal, then they wouldn't give it. It's not shaykh to give it. The Zogam came Kasha Eves Kotzer Kwa Noida Umusa Shazoa Kli Liesh Mumayla Gilib Taluma's Klok. Aber Kishaloi Basor Cloud, Gamway Evskoteu or Achri, even if it would be, it could be that all that has been given Basor is what you might call the last straw, the last little, iron, whatever, for the immediate Ayin, of something has been given, even though it's Katseu, Ha'achri, Mamish, then that becomes a Kli, and through that is the Efsharius. But if it weren't for the gila of that, and then the scene of that, well, you're talking way more omiku, it wouldn't be shy to say it's deep. Because the infant omik implies that you're nimtze b'teicha inen of afilu, b'efes b'teicha afilu amashu, b'alman, of the fact that you're b'teicha makes it possible for you to say omik, even though you may say miyimta ena, of a sof. It is. However, here we see a very interesting principle. It could be that the omik is avazifil oimek, that it can only come no matter. It's not really bekoyach ha'olam. Since after all, we're talking about Inyani here, but Gilel, of course, I mean the whole Inyam from Torah is Gilel. The whole Inyam. I forgot the Pshuti Anigla, Shabbat all Inyani Elikus, how they're Mamish. מיוחד בתחת סעיף חוכם אילוה ועוד לא מיילם בתחת סעיף. But we have to say that the Inyonim they are already shot to Chokma. Chokma is already a relation with Chokma and Afkis, or Bir Chokma Iloa, Chokma as Miyuchad, Tachat Zayif, Metelakuz, or so it's Beis Union of Giliver, Iskalas, the Gabin and the Freud, therefore we say, Reisen with Chokma, Nafkas, it's Indian, Iskalas, for Giliver is from that Indian, which is soft, Nikr Chokma. Actually, so I know how many Chokma Iloa, Chokma is Mitzad HaKodesh. So it must have Eishu is Kasher, Eishu Shaitas to Chokma, Eishu Achreza Benivroy. Doesn't it? So man need, since it's Mamish Chokma Iloa, the Chokma Se'echa, then he has to give it in the form of Nasina. It's not Chaya. The Koyach Haniva would be mashlim shleimus soga tzadatzmei in a zamadrei. If he hadn't had Ayin Yeshua then it wouldn't have been shot that they give him anything either. I'm in a Beis now, so the Rebbe says that's al derech v'nigif of a kli. But the little bit that he's mashing tzad koyach tzatzmei, well, that's like a get of a kli. I know it's already a metzias mukbeles. Aber the Indian from Kli is Mamshich, as the well-known Kli is Mamshich. Well, that gives the Afsharias and it makes the Metzias possible that Eva should be Mashal Nomaila, the Shleim Sador. But here we see that everything you do has significance. It's an Ishtor. It's an Ishtor Keshum Dovo, Skate verloren. And therefore you start off and you see that you're only being mamashmish b'efesh kotzeu von Ayin, aber the etzem mishmush, but you how do you call it, you mishageya, and you break your cup in that little bit that you do have, well, that's a kli, or that's shafta, a kibul. Efshar is that the Eivish can give into that kli a ribui inyonim. And we have to say the kli is mizdachi, mepam o pam, until it can be mekabel inyonim nailim, or shavoy lefi erech, v'chul. And for now we see that you can never, there's no such thing as ever stopping or saying, you know, I can't understand these inyonim or all this other, these other dvarim shlilim that nimtzoyim etzel b'nei adam, it's not for me, and v'chule. On the contrary, we see the little bit that you do, if you just do it with the nemes ishtadlas, then that becomes a kli, and a kli's got a very high shoulders. A kli is mamsheh. I have heard it's the same meaning to chachma. It's not a kli. But that you did that by emes, then that enters the whole gather of a kli. A kli has got a higher shurish in a way than what the other is, kiyadua. And that's what they're putting to draw down and what you might call magnetize the inyonim, which seem to be truthfully very much beyond you, but it's asman. That's what Rashi says. Alidei avoyin shnin is Ayin and Oram, Ayin and Das, Chachmas Mishnasa. Remember, that's the one was steered. We see here that becomes a kli to the gila of the Talmuds. Well, you're talking Lema Omikul, it's not like to say Omik. A Kabayva Mitzvah's Pora Aduma, the Siv, Almati, Echachmeh, Vehiru Chaychim Mimenu. Shlomi Amelech said, I'm going to enter the whole meaning from Chachma. It's well known that Chachma Shlomi was a Matam Umayla, it was given to him Umayla, so he said, I will enter the meaning from Chachma. In other words, that I've got certain inyonim, afilu b'negeh le'inyan zeh in the inyan from Chachma, me'anit ve'hiru choichem menin. V'hainu she'chachmos yishol Shlomi lo yigil ha'asik oimek ha'chachma shebo. ובכל מוחים הוא בערך שישכחנו בזה. ועל כן אמרתי, in the Lashon HaPosik, I will be a Chacham, I will enter Chachma, רק שהיא רחויכם ממני מפני אוהמך. וחמישן is boil you, so very quick memches. But the Rebbe is married in that whole Indian, but again, it's not the pshat that the Pora Aduma is not Klal Shaifas, but a Pam or a Isman, the Ayin Zeh B'Shloim HaMelech would be massacred. This doesn't the pshat. The pshat is, das ist die Lamaila, Klei HaMakabel, afilu from Ayin was, he entered the Indian Chachma, Siyata Dishmaya, Ki Sholem, it's still Lamaila Mimenu. Upon him, it's the fact that he says, I will go into the Indian Chachma. And that was how Shlomo HaMelech could do that with all the pomp and splendor. Shlomo HaMelech's Chachma, well, that's how Kli, do them. He could be Mamshir. In other words, when those Psukim stressed that Shlomo HaMelech said he didn't yet have the Indian, the pshat was he didn't yet have it. Of Ezim Zman and Azmanim, either he did have it, or it was meant upon him that he should have it. Maybe he went easy on him, alive in Chatel Lamaka, which one there, and he said, me there, upon him it was possible that he could come to it. Those are the pshat. If I remember, the whole posse, and the whole Indian in Paraduma, when they get to Shlomo HaMelech, is not a, how do you call it, a miyuyish tikazah. It's not as if what he says, Ayin Shayat. No, on the contrary. He's just saying how challenging, how, what you might call, the Indian is more actually the Chukka, the hero Chaykim Mimeni, of Boy Yovid, Behem Shechazman. V'adugma b'zeh hu k'moi koyach hamash kiyu. And therefore we're going to now compare it in Koyach HaNefesh to Ayin, which is already Ba'am Shocha, which all people, what we call Am Shocha Ne'alemes. It's Am Shocha, but Derech Elem, or Ba'ach HaPonim it's already Bamshocha mi a Hiyuliyim, how they are in the Etzemanef. Who Kemoi Koyach HaMaskil, what the Ine from Koyach HaMaskil is the Koyach HaYuli HaKloli of all the scholars what I mentioned is Maskil. Shu Mokeh HaSeichel, here beginners Mokeh Achaponim Seichel Golur. I'm sorry, Shu beginners Mokeh HaSeichel, Liyoisovi, due to the fact that it's a beginners Mokeh Achaponim Seichel Golur, Hariu Gamche beginners Kilo. It's also an Inin with Sokosov, it's near to the Inin of the order. In other words, that's what we might call your mind. The mind, when you're struggling with the Inin, all of a sudden your mind produces you a sudden gilui in the Inin. So the very fact that it's able to produce you a sudden gilui in the Inin is a sign that even though it's mutal with Tachas from any given specific seichel, but the fact that it produced you at that moment, that specific seichel, is a simon that it's peculiar to the order. Don't come to this, the yisayras that you make, and the chukah, and the issue that you have of not being able to understand, well, that's like a kli, that's a dovatei. That's a kli which is mamshich, a certain, what you might call, a gluya from the koyach amaski. There you can feel your mind, you can feel that you have such a prayer, and you almost plead to it, you almost sort of give a bakasha to your koyach hamaskil that he should send you, only because you can feel that you have such a mocker. That's the simon, but the fact that he is korem, and he does have a certain kiru. He himself is not the specific seichel, sharihu koyach hiyuli, and so on the biur hiyuli, that a hiyuli is not any given specific prat. He's just a mocker of pratim, even from Abdullah, but Abdullah, v'dera kiru, sharihu koyach hiyuli. Omikol, okay? Ari margishim sheyesh metius koyach maskil, mekoyer la seichel. You feel and you sense that there is such a koyach kloli, hiyuli, from which you put forth your plea that should send you an ayah iskala. That's the pshat. That we're able to be margish the Metzias. So Nimtza that there's like two oifani hakiruv in the koyach hamaskil. One is that so he does produce from his klolias, which is a multitude of klolias, albeit, but he does produce his klolias adova to the order which he's able to deal with. And Zweitens says that he feels that whole general state of that koyach, even though he's not aware of the detailed identity of it, but he does feel it. So the Rebbe says, to be a shenoifel boy, seichel chorish, ariu magish bo me'edu mokeh. He feels that it comes from somewhere, and he's aware. Amamela said the Rebbe, the Ika Hargosha, and he got the proof of the pudding is in the eating, as an old saying, when the eating takes place, when there's a produce from the koyach hamaskil hits the odom, at that moment he realizes that it's coming from a koyach kloli. But we could maybe suggest, even Efshari Bilvad, that also you sense the mocker when you're struggling. You also sense that there's something there, as it were, to approach. Because if you didn't feel that there was anything klal, then you might not make the whole difference. You do feel that you've got this closed ability to produce something. But the Ika awareness of it, says the Rebbe, is dark when it's already at that moment producing you something. And a certain trace of it is Ma'ir. Seichel Hamavrik. Seichel Hamavrik is the Baruch Hamavrik. That's the Kuda of Ham, which also appeared. Yes, the Hamaskil does produce you a certain inyan that indicates the inyan of his kiruv, albeit that that's only Efeska Kotzeu. The Alkain who Mulgash. And therefore he's able to be so. It's much more in the lesson of the Maimah that the Ike, in other words, we wouldn't have necessarily felt our Koach HaMaskil if it weren't for experience. That's where we get to the Taich and Beis because since you see that when you need Askolis, then your mind produces them, that teaches you that you've got such a thing to approach. Now, like we said, the Ike pudding is in the eating. In other words, the Ike awareness of it is from practical experience. And it's clear you've been taught by the Giluim of these Nakudas that you do have such a thing, and therefore you're aware of it. There's a sense of, general and albeit Havdalah or even, but you are aware of it. And that's the Rebbe. Al-Kain Huma Murgash. Well, that's very interesting. That in the Moshul we spoke about Sikhliyim. And it seems that we're talking about in Sikhliyim Ha'efes Katzayu and Ayin from the Sefer. And that makes sense to mention that certain inyanim which are only like you read of Chetanius, the Gabi the Emerson Muskal, and then you go deeper and more profoundly into the Muskal and you're massing the Pnimis of the Muskal. But we look in the Moshul that he brings up that or Kilo, the Mechias how it is the Koifes Ha'olam, that's like almost like a Moshul Tanim Shalom, that he moves into a field which is a little bit different than that, because the Koich HaMaskil is not a double which is really Musik Ha'olam. We're not really Masik our Koich HaMaskil. If I'm really give you Efes Kotzeu, and then the Nimshal is from that Efes Kotzeu, you're then oiler to our soga in the Yoim Kadol. So I mean, how are you really oiler to a soga in your Koich HaMaskil? So let's just learn another couple of lines here. Messiah and the Ayin, then maybe we can sort of say, does everybody sense what I'm getting at? There's a slide.
It says at the end about Kain Humon Gash. What does it mean, Humon? The Koach HaMaskil?
Yeah. The Koach HaMaskil is more Gash. Chose, Upkin is Makiv de Yosha. All this is, however, the Makiv de Yosha. Upkin is Ashpur ve'amshocha. Im ha'amshocha in English. Yeah, whether it's a Hamshocha which is already put Golui, and that's it, it's just a question of different stages of its Gilui. If it's a Helam Sheba Gilui, yeah, or Kemoy Eimach HaSeichel, yeah, or Kemoy Kesher Sheba Chachma, like we discussed earlier in this whole long place, we spoke about the Madrega of Kesher Sheba Chachma, where he senses certain inyonim before they actually become Golui to him, even before the Baruch HaMavrik, he begins to feel the Inin Kemoy Shuhu. Oi, Bamshocha Ne'elemus, Kemoy Koach HaMaskil. So we see that in the Sikuma Dvarim, the Rebbe has made a Oi out of this Koach HaMaskil. In other words, the way we would have preferred to understand, that's the first statement. He said, between the Shem Sheba Gilu, you've got a certain Muskal, and he's got a Gilu, and he's got a Helam, but that Helam is just shy to the Gilu. The more you work with the Gilu, the more you get back into the Helam. And then he says, Oi, the Amshocha Amshocha Ne'elem, which one of the Koach HaMaskil is Amshocha, but what we call Amshocha Ne'elem. He still remains Be'elem, even though the Gabi, the Yichud, with the Etzem HaNefesh, like the Koach Zayuli Ma'atzmi, he's already gone out. He's not a Yuli Atzmi, he's already a Yuli Atzmi, but he's not Amishkila, he's called Amshocha Ne'elem. So we said the Rebbe himself is Kilo bin Marius, that's two in him, and he said, Al Daga, it also fits in. Yeah, that the first one fits even Hamurim Pashtas, and the zweite is also Shach, let's say. So look come to this our Rebbe's it's hard to say that the Pshat is that Alidei Ribui Shimush Bas Kolas that come from your Koach HaMaskil, you begin to be able and understand your Koach HaMaskil, or to appreciate how your Koach HaMaskil works. That's a little bit hard to the Pshat is that there's certain Chachamim, it's Mavur in Tzilas. that sometimes we use the expression Chacham be'etzem koyach Chacham. He's a Chacham the etzem koyach. But that can be even higher than what I'm about to say. But it would be clear of this for sure. And that is that certain Chachamim, that they're able to be oiler from understanding the Inyanim Aleh B'Nekuda or in Chokmah Tluya. They understand Inyanim how they are in Koyach HaMaskeh. In other words, they already appreciate from how the Tegel is in the Koyach HaMaskeh. In the Hiyuli, they've already got a certain appreciation of how it is over there. And all the descriptions of details and to bring it down into Protiv and into Pina and into that's all Ibrik, they already know better than a much higher. And all the Protiv and all the Kiluim are by a small chain. As is much, even in what was once in Ayin Beis, it's the same much. Let's look at what we can say that there are certain people that they're able from the Inyanim how they are in the Efes Kotzeim, the Ayin what's Mishkala from the Koyach HaMaskeh, they're able to be Oile and Masik Inyanim how they are in the Koyach HaMaskeh. In other words, that they appreciate Inyanim how the Koyach HaMaskeh appreciates them. In other words, that they have them in Oim, which is higher even than a Kuda. They have Kilo and a Achmistike, Kloli, Achmi type of understanding, that for them to go and explain it and bring it all down into different dargis, Mikan or Kan, is, I say, absolutely, it's Lalei Kol Tzedek. And therefore they say, okay, let's get right there.
It's like the sleep of the Arizal.
Huh?
When the Arizal sleep.
Yeah, very nice. Maybe we could compare it to that story. Arizal, he said that, when he gets it in, he can't write. It's not so that he should be able to write it down, because it's just beyond the whole ability to explain it in detail, and not only beyond the whole ability, but it's aims itself too. So there's no necessity for it either. It's not just that David would give him something that he's not able to expect. That would be like Ayin Yecholas. And there is an Yecholas because he's working on a level where those things are no longer nitra. Kein Islam doesn't be Ramiti though. I'll put him as a contest, therefore the Rebbe warned that he makes two Inyanim out of it. But that means that the Zweite Father is even deeper Inyan. That it's possible to go from Inyanim, which are Mishkala, from the Koyach HaMaskeh, into a Zahavon of a Soga, how it is in Koyach HaMaskeh. And remember, that's a Dova Nifla, Afu Pikein, Machim to Ur Yosh, that's all a Machim of direct Ashpoah. There are certain Gedele Mashpiyah, but they're able to be Mashpiyah, because that's the color of the Mashpiyah. So, if a Chacham, who's a Talmud of a Mashpiyah, gets a certain thing, then that's enough for him. Who you call Ali de Zempa Alois Elamit Hayin. Yesh Lemon, the favor doesn't necessarily take our point Shnin. He's already reached the level, but it can go probably less than our point Shnin, or he's such a practiced Horever that he Horevers what would take another person our point Shnin, and he Horevers that in a short while. Either one way or the other. And we have a Chitzah says, the Rebbe, the Hina Yesh Machim der Yosho, Machim der Chayzim. Yoshu who bekiru, but we saw it right in the Maskana. But can we aim Shanisha Behelem Mia Optim, no matter what the Makabal is Makabal, there's always the Yin which is Nisha Makif al Sikhlei, Shuhu Be'erach Optim. It has some sort of erach upon him to the Optim. Not that it's Be'etzim, but it's Be'erach that it should be Nimsha through the Mishyashiv in the Optim. That's what he goes on to say. The Mishyashiv boy, or Optim, Sasi boy, Yahweh Elohim. Akamaya Mishchacham al Torah, Ve'ina Imed al Boiriya. Yeah, the Komokim Kranimship Mimaka Hasiko. Yeah, we have Hanoch Sayin, he feels the Indian, and he feels the Kazakh is Munach Tzvay. Or he feels nitzutza. You remember we had a whole beer, but it's like it sparks at him. He feels that's what we saw. That's even higher. That's what he called kesher of chachma. But that's higher even than the hanocha and the borach hamavrik. But that's even kesher of chachma. It's like a sensing of something moving into a level where he's going to get it, but he doesn't quite know yet exactly. All that is the Inyan from Kesher Chochma. Just that Hanochas Inyan is closer to the Inyan of the Baruch HaMavrik, and then the Tutziyah is withdrawn more. V'chein k'sha'imrim omek hu, hainu k'shiyedim efes kotzei me'ha'emek. You know something of Emek, like Shlomi HaMelech, Amati echachma v'hi rechoicha mimhani. Gilui Hupkins Talumas Chachma. So the emes is that if Shlomi HaMelech and Taka b'teifresh Chachma, so Shlomi HaMelech said that. Now we see that so it is not such a pashut azah. It's not such a platik azah that he should reach the whole shleimas. The pure and the minor was that ultimately that's a matana, although it's a matana which was better to be expected, as you might say, had the whole preparation been done. We described that as a Ayin from Kli. Now we see in the Kitzur that the Rebbe makes that kilo of the Ikar of the Nimshal. It's that there is a shaykhs to go from what you get to Chokmah Galuya into a Zamin Avon. Sure. So now we move into the new field where, how they say, nobody knows the heck. That is the expression. Omnam is het beginnes, mag je de Elchaize, de Mashpia, de mag je voor de Elchaize, de Mashpia, Usha Eno, Bob, begins Hashpoa El Makaber. It doesn't even enter the whole idea of Hashpoa to the Makaber. Adarabba, Ike Inyoni, who Hefer Hashefa. In other words, it's the very opposite, the Inyan of giving something for. It's not going to be nimshik. What do you mean it was nimshik be'er? I mean, what is that? So therefore, once again, we see the important crutch at the end of the mind of the previous Hainu Pinam Shochan Elem, because the Korach HaMaskil, he's called Aneva, but he's nonetheless called Am Shochan. So he's like one of the real crutches. He's Am Shochan there. He's Am Shochan Elem. In other words, he's Be'elem, or he's on upon him Nimshach. Mia Yudim Exahim Bi'ayet. And that was at the Rebbe, Machim der Chayze is Nizdas. It's not something which is just Omek, and it's not something which is an even of Shochan V'derech Elem. Ela, Lahalim Ulahastir Ador Bi'atzmei, Liyais Nelam Lagamrei Mikol Roya Mikol Mashim. It's just as though in Yonim, what to use the expression, they drain the Mashpir. And they just drain him and they go deeper and deeper into his etzem. And nobody ever knows what on earth, he's experiencing by Madrega Zeus Banafta. It'll never even enter the whole concept of Giloi. It's not that he's hiding it. It's not that, oh yeah, this would be tremendous, why would I give this over, but I'm going to do that. This is just too high for my cabinet, but it just doesn't come into the whole field of Gilui. There was no chance that he hides it. As they say in English, tutsuchinim. The sphera fleet room in the mashpir. Not that he makes a deliberate act of keeping it from the Mekablim. Ela shemamela mis'alim bi'atzma. It goes back into him, as you might say. as will be explained as we go along, was it a pshat that it's misale biat. והיינו לפי שזהו מה שנראה מצד עצמי, שאין בגדר גילוי, ולא מה שהמקבל לא יוכל לקבל בכלי מויכל. And it's not the fault of the Makabel. Like we saw in the Makita earlier, it was partially and largely due to the Chison and the Makabel. But that's a door that can also be Mishtanel L'Shvach. He can gradually work himself out of that Chison, and he can become a Kli Muksha, בהמשך הבוין שנין. לדבר, these עניונים הניתן לשינוי. בדרך כלל זה ניתן לשינוי לחיוב. לצורך כוסו, איזה עניין is here misgala because the Makabel was misala even to a point where he can be shot to, make sure he so therefore, how they say in English, there's always hope, there's always the possibility that somehow or another. But Ayin, which is not together, Gilui Beklal, then it's not the fault of the Makabel, even in these best possible Uifen of Gilui. Aki Godels, Jeff Shalataye, Ki Im Shatova Bietsem, Eigner Begeder Gilui. Bial Kain Loi Bo, Ashpoa Gilui Klal. In other words, they, how do you call it? They are the Inyonim of the Mashpia greater, Mitzad Atzmai, and we can say that the Mashpia is aware of these Inyonim. But it's not the Pshat that he would never dream of giving them to the Makabel. No, they're so part of his Etzem, and they're so miyuchad with him, that it would never be Oila al Daito a problem. Why doesn't this go over to the Makabel? Okay, like Bob, Ashpoa, Gilui Klal. Ayin advarim stubim v'neromim she'enom hirim v'niglim klal afilo efes kotzei. Not niglim v'nirim at all under no circumstances. The shum tzad upon him, it's not going to be. Afilo ashmek tabik. Afilo efes kotzei. Afilo shum inin v'shum dor lo yitker. So I saw the shayla, the comes again a normal mensch, and he says, what do we need all these? Why does it must appear? Sof kosof. If he's a mashpia, then sof kosof in Yonah is mashpia. And sof kosof we want that all in Yonah were brought into the world, created, Nimchoyim, or Tachlis, mashpia Makabel. Somebody's got to get them, and if he gets them, then somebody else has got to get them. I mean, that's the whole reason why that's S.I.M.S. Mavur says that some are Ashirim and some are Aniyim. Some people are Ashirim, they got a lot to give, and some people that don't have anything to give, but he can have a cover. Okay, I was hopeful of everything that's got to come forth. Was it a Tyson? There's those of Inyonim, there's no Shai Klal Ligan, there's no Shai Klal Ligan Akilu. Remember, he's a toilet shape. Lamas of he's a mileage. So we have to say, and that's what we'll see at the end. It's not a shot that these things are just there to stay within the mashpia and keep the tower and how to cover it by to the end of time. Nobody will ever know all these other dramatic expressions. To use the really terrible expression, these things will go with him into the grave. Nobody will ever know. We're talking about Chaim Nitzchi, and we could have taken from here. We're going to Harif Zayinim. If I'm going to ease a turtle, yes, but what it made. So we have to say that there's certain inyonim what the Eibishter keeps on. And he makes midukmal as a mashpia miti, that he keeps on because Eino Hanami b'derech hagilui harogil, they're not even meant for that. It's not that they're not meant for that. He means ultimately to give him gvura for another, even lo b'derech mashpia kabel, v'loi al derech ha'muven lanu klal, how things are usually given and received. Afilu mit kuach hamaskun with the hechste inyon. Now there's going to be inyonim which they're being stored up by the Eibishter Almanah to give them in a boom to give them in a what you might call big bang, in a way that they will come that blow all the klole hashpah, and they can't by definition be begilah, but yet they will. We have to say that that's the reason why the Eibishter makes these inyonim to fly around within him and lamata, bedugmose, mashpia miti flin arum azochan inyonim with their lamayla megillah, because there's going to come a time when he's going to be mishtapech. He's going to, the barrel's going to split, as you might say, and it's all just going to bomb out. The Duke should say. The Eibishter is like building up a certain storehouse within L'mayla mikol klole hagilui. Therefore, he says the klole hagilui are only for certain inyonim. After that, there's going to be nesina v'am shocha loi eish anachnu yodim inyonim. It's just going to it's just going to be. So yikre ein lanu musi yitzacheh how it's going to be. Or the devils. That's shot. The kol etzem built in miskara, built in mispasha, is that's only in the normal way. Of if the Atzmus himself will want Yeshel Chador, Hamonea Aliyot. That's what we have to say. This whole Ayin from Machit is a Ayin, but it's like storing up and building up in order to eventually blow, to just burst forth. Plotting lo yadu and lo natan. Now you're going to see an amazing example. Just take a look at this. This is we're going to blow you all off your chairs. He said, "V'hein dvorim stumim, ein dvorim stumim v'ne'lomim, she'einem nirnim v'nimlim klal v'ot ukemoi." Now this is me'ein a pasuk in Daniel. Right to the end. Yator Chasoim, you should, how do you call it, seal the city. In other words, talking about the gates. Most talking about the gates. And the system, you should, lock this away. It's going to be Chasum Itcham. And to the door itself, you're going to lock it away and kind of a But then he says an amazing thing. That's much been the posik after that. To the story it says that of Kashiyovei Hazman Shinyonim Ha'elu Yizkalu Yufchuku Ha'inayim, that their eyes will be opened and people will see that these things are telling you about the Geulah. Yufchuku Ha'inayim V'yiru Kulam Shedvarim Eilu Modiyim Al Geulah. In other words, that even the Simone Dvorim Rein al Kol Musik, they're hidden and but there's going to be a point before the Etzem Geulah where all these Simonim, all these things that are Modia ala Geulah are going to reach a point where all you got to do is your eyes have got to be opened, or you have to do it yourself, and then you begin to see that these things are telling me about the Geulah. They stated to the Torah. It's not the shot that Moshe is going to be Megala these inyonim, or these inyonim will start bursting forth, and they will tell you, you don't see it. Give a you can't. These Simone Aguirre, as I stated, the two ways. If I've got an answer, what's going to be this Yufuchu in Ayin, well, that's going to be these Inyonim which have come from Sosu, Mugamri, into God. And they will say, you don't say, give a clue. They're not going to be, but they're must be I'm shocked about or I'm shocked now, no, they're going to be kilo bombs. The etching meaning, Kamoju is just going to say, that's it, was trying to state. That's an akuda. Im Avanasi of Meres came, the way I understood it over there in Daniel, doesn't the shot that it's not just these things will be Moshiach. The Simonim at the last time, at the last announcement, like the trumpet, before the king actually walks in, they're going to be way because they will also be in this kilo at a source of mamish big Miskal. The meaning of the Geula and Simona for Achreidim are floating around in the air, Mr. Even that he can't give you that number, but that must be a Mikal. But it'll be understood why it is that Daniel says he had to put it away, he can't go on his own. There's no way he can tell you all this. Because in the Seder, Harogim, Giluim, the Derek, it's not 11. There's Harav and Shabbos, the state of the whole weekday. In the weekdays, come to Harav and Shabbos. Isn't it right? But he was already here before Shabbos. Which was before Shabbos. The Abshach of Shilach. Come to us, we should suggest that the Indian of Moshiach, as Mamish came in this very point, that the Indian of Gila of Moshiach is, no, don't tell you what he's saying, but give him my story, give him my time. No, you don't give away your taifa. You can let him look on. You don't give away your taifa. You don't do that around here, man. Although, we have to finish it because we done Margot around the last himself, he said, that those inyonim which are stumim in the Makabel, Lamaila Mikol Sidrei Hagilu, it's not shayek that should come with derech ha'inyonim, make shahim aksha. Afilu atore makia, afilu b'derech pora aduma, the Gabbis Leimana. It's the child. It can't come that way. Therefore, he said to Daniel, du bist doch Daniel, you do know what's going to be. He says, Chasoim atova, lock it up and put it away. It's not going to be able. It can't. But when it comes the moment that it's going to boom, they call it big bang, then it's going to come. And I believe that all the Klolei Hashpah will just be mispatel. And the Indian will be there, and he'll say, Matalo, that's what the Matsudas David says over there. That's something there. And then, I mean, every now and then you run up to this expression, if you could ever say that, every now and then you sort of find it somewhere. And was it everything that I ever said is Mom Shilakos. Cold water, she also made pick, which is just every now and then you meet something and you see that everything he says is touchless. And there was the fact that he said, open the eyes and you and bull. Fun with, because it'll be shy to us. I mean, Gilui, what Yesh Loima, that only the Olam HaGashmi Lamata will be able to happen. It's meant to be Lamata Mata. In the Elam HaGashmi, and then what Dafki the Keglim HaGashmi, if they're washed and polished, they'll be able to get them. Does it shut? Open your eyes, or wash them out, or whatever it likes. And it says that that's what he said to Daniel, lock it out. Because in Seder must be a Makabel, it's not going to go, it won't go. The Indian Aktates, who ניסת ונרם לגמרי, שהיינו נית לכלל, ואדרבה נראה חס ושלום ההפך מזה. Isn't it amazing? The closer you get into the case, the more it's going to look at a foul. It's a very woo case, was case, it's very slave with me there. If you do the Moshiach ben David Bo, Vahesakata, it's Shizero, Mitzad Ribu Alamas Vestem. The Rabbi tells you, not the Shatla Maila Mitamadat, they tell the people who just won't be able to see it, they'll forget about it, because they'll think that there's so many Alamas Vestem, how could we possibly dream of Moshiach and his mountain?
But people are beginning to realize Moshiach.
But doesn't, but that's what I said to you. That's what the Metzudas David says, that there's going to be a minute before the whole thing happens, when all these things are going to be revealed. The Rebbe is talking about why is it that the whole history is not revealed. Look at this another thing, that before it begins to bang, it's really going to look bad. He said, Ribu Ayalon is a stadium, Shahin Mitzad Ayisalme. So you don't have to worry about that. So there will be there Mitzad Ayin, that this is just too high to be given. It's just not the whole possible way. It can't go otherwise.
That's talking about the Chavle Moshiach.
This is the Chavle Moshiach, yeah. Remember, maybe this is what Rabbi Elul meant when he said it was a Rabbi Elul or a Bajik Homler or something. I don't know, I think it was Rabbi Elul said. Yiziki is pilot, so Felakus is darky from the heaven. When he sees the heaven, the devil's that's what he kocht the gadels in the Eberstein. I think it was Biscoff. Yeah, we ties it around. Yeah, Ochein Ato Keel Mistata. Who is this to Keel Mistata? That's the Ato. That's the Ato. So, remember that the Rebbe said, hey, Mitzada Isham. Ayin לפי שהמיתיס הגילוי דמשיח הוא שיסגלת בנס אין נילו הסתימוע whatever that is אין נילו הסתימוע that's what he's meant in some of Arichas but that's the tainuk הבלתי מורגש שמצד העצמס כל העצמס הוא דלו במסקר but he's meant in פרשת ויש ופרשת וישלח in first section, some of them. Ayin nilo astimua means the time of the kol biatzmosi, the Eibishter's etzem time of haposhim. Those are the shah. Shezeu ma shesosu be'etzem, ולפי שמסעלם בעצמו זה ביועסר, על כן אויד נראה להיפך. It still appears to be going the opposite. Those are pretty gesagt. You notice at the beginning he said, the Rebbe said, Rebbe Salmus, where are we? Now he uses the expression, Al Kain Oid Nira. It was Oid that takes it still looks that way. In other words, what the Rebbe is saying is that in his time, in Bismanein was there, things already should be bombed. In other words, it should already be moving into the stage that this whole hell is going to break. All of it had the goydel ahelem, and the goydel ilui these in yonim be ilui acha ilui in the etzem, but they're not together hashor, and not in the whole. Even though it must be a mekabel, the whole inim and oilam sakia yonim and the whole seder, but then is not shy to this whole even cloud. And therefore, what you see is Ayin van. You see Ayin van Helen. And remember, that leads to Ayin van Hesed Hadas. That can be Maval you of a peak verkehrt. You have to realize that after from that, and maybe we could say that the more that appears to be Ayin Shulelim, then the more that it's aimed lehiskal. Because since it's like Maila Legamim Miklol Klole Ashpoer, then as it were, the higher within him, then the more we can say the shleimus in the whole process. been pleaded. In other words, even inside himself, he's not going to go any further. The more the re'iyah lamata, the more it's in. And therefore, and he writes here, "V'atzmusei b'yoisa al kein uid nira lahi." What's the word uid? Yeah, what's the word uid? Actually, it still looks that way. Of any second, it's not going to be that way. Remember, Nimta, the Emunah in Beis HaMashiach is a pure ability. And that's what we see, that you've got to have a dveiches and disanters in the Indian for Moshiach to be able to see lahivah for what appears to be Megollah. Everything just seems to be going completely and utterly haywire. And after it became from that Elul, well, that's the raya that it must become, because how far, and that's what the Rebbe said, there's a limit to everything, there's a limit to how much that heaven will go. Remember, what's going to happen is that prior to the actual Izgalos of Mashiach, then these sort of things are going to come boom into Goloi, and it's much more, like I said, in the Mephoshim, in the midst of the story, that's going to be Terem Etzim Beis Mashiach Mamish Papoy. That's what I was trying to say on the Yusi, B'Shifutzi. That's what I was trying to say on Shabbos. I firmly believe that we've gone out of this Indian here, that it's near a lahifah and oid near a rak lahifah. We've gone out of that. That's what the Rebbe said. And the Kof Beis Shvat, that the two Yudalos have been mischaber, the Yudal Fakir and been mischaber from the Tarte. Obviously, so that was like the beginning of that. But now it's entered as our stage where the world is mamish beginning to show you that Mashiach is coming, and it's mamish in the pastures of the world, and people are beginning to talk, people beginning to react, people are beginning to feel, I feel goyim, the whole, what you might call oilam goyim, the whole pastures of the oilam is beginning to say, that's a pillar, if I understood rightly, in that message in Daniel. That's what and that's what the Rebbe is saying here, that this Elul can't come in the normal ways of Ashpor. It'll just come in even. That's what he says at the end of the oath. It'll just come in even from the Shtap Chesayetzer. Li kol hachonas of li kol drochim shel Ashpor. The ancient hachona is that it'll already start shouting at you before the answer is callous of no. Before he actually walks in and says, "Here I am, guys," there'll already be these inyonim which have come. Shleim don't much be on the cattle. They're just there, kind of. And therefore, the oven is to open your eyes a little. You just have to stare carefully, wash out your eyes from all the dust and the dollars, and just see that these things are really talking. And it's mamish. It's built on what you might call an attitude. That's what the Pekicha say now. You've got to gear yourself. And if you gear it, then you can see it. You can see it happening. See it happening. And that's what we're going to try and train our friends to do. Everybody will just try looking that way, try doing that. It's very, very important that people, it appears that the apes want to, we should notice it. Before the ultimate part of the Big Bang occurs, that's what Moshe is going to walk in. And before that actually occurs, there's going to be this opening your eyes and seeing. And I must say that when I find traveling very awkward nowadays. It's very, very hard for me indeed. But when I do travel, I notice things, and it has a big effect on me. When I was in England, that thing I told on Shabbos, particularly when I met these four Yidden, in the shop, I just turned around. I wanted to go to the toilet. I turned around. And I was looking, I'm booming, I bang, and they're standing like four, sort of lost souls there. They didn't know what the heck they were doing. They missed their tour, and they're standing in the shop, trying to work out what's going on. Where do we go? What do we do? They go on the streets. They don't know anything. Even though they talk the language. I mean, the shopkeepers, they don't know anything about these tours, and they want to start it. And I said to me, listen, you're a rabbi, could you maybe help us? And so we started walking with them, and we started talking. This whole unbelievable conversation developed. And at the end, when I told them about Mashiach, they just looked at me. One of them turned to the other and he said, well, he means the Messiah. He means the Messiah. He means it's going to be a redemption. And they were sort of talking one to the other to explain to one to the other what I was saying to them. Amazing, unbelievable. And they were really copying him. When I left, they said to me, I keep on the Khamtar, I said, you really made us feel a lot better. We feel much better. I feel more confident. That's what they said. And years ago, 2 years ago, you would have met these guys and their wives, and you would have said to them, come on, tell us what's happening, tell us about the program, what's going to happen right now. They said, leave alone with this machine. I'm positive that's what they would have said. And now they don't say. I forget. All of a sudden he remembered his Zayd, and he started telling me about his Zayd, and he remembers when he was a little boy. His Zayd was a rabbi, I'm sure. He remembers I used to stand alongside him when he was a kid, when he said these droshes. All of a sudden he just opened up and he started being mustapir. This guy. He was only an elderly man. I reckon he was probably in his late 60s. If he was a day. One of them. And then we met up with Goyim and that, and he said, there's a lot of things I can tell you. People that said to us, what's going on in the world. This whole thing with the Eden or Moise Nefesh, people say, it's asking us about Jews and about Jewish religion, all sorts of things that it wouldn't be possible to talk about. It came out hard from that. So I mean, you've got to be able to see these things. You can just pass them by and, so it was a nice conversation. You can see that there's something. And that's what the purpose of the David has thrown these things down. He's tossed them into the pitch. We should wake up and start reacting. That's what that's the message. Ayin came to Yerushalayim. Masha Yosef was reasons. It's very, very important for the deity to tell people about this. It's tremendously important. People should know about it. Anybody you meet, you have to try to guide the conversation. And that's what the Rebbe said in the famous Sikha. That nowadays you meet somebody, you talk to him about Mashiach. Either it was talk to him about and a few months later down the line you would be very careful how you mention Mashiach. So in the famous Sikha, the Rebbe said, no, nowadays you have to go straight. Why? Because everything is copper up, everything's been thrown into the field. It's like somebody's tossed a big ball into the game. It's not, the whole sort of Vorspiel, it's not the whole sort of little play before. Good, okay guys, came here, the Kaitzani is starting. It's taken from Zeppelin, you don't need to be misbought, and the hatred, verkehrt. Auf der Seite. Das ist das Wort. Okay, so wir wollen halt,